morning. Can I get a honk from those of you that are in your vehicles so that I know you can hear me tonight? That's awesome. I almost feel like we're outside tailgating or something like that as I see people sitting around fire pits and all of that. What a gorgeous night that God has blessed us with again. We had fantastic weather all Sundays in the summer that was absolutely amazing as we were doing our outdoor worship. And now, look at these 2 Sundays that we have where it is just beautiful. It's hard to believe that we are in December and this is the kind of gorgeous weather that we have. God is definitely smiling on us tonight. I do want to welcome you all to this worship service, our Advent candlelighting service, and I want to especially say hi to those who are on Facebook joining us tonight. My husband Chris is serving as our cameraman, so if you see him turning around with the camera at times, just please make sure that you smile and wave, even if you've got stuff over your face, that's fine too. We want to make sure that everybody feels really welcome at our service tonight. Last week, we began the season of Advent by lighting the first candle, the candle of hope, remembering the hope born to us in Bethlehem. And this week, we light the second candle, the candle of peace. God brings us peace as we personally and collectively open our lives to the Prince of Peace, Jesus the Christ. Luke chapter 1 verses 78 and 79 says, "Because of our God's deep compassion, the dawn from heaven will break upon us to give light to those who are sitting in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide us on the path of peace." And now I'd like to invite you to join me in singing O Come, Emmanuel. So if you are someone who is on our email list this morning when I sent out the link for worship, I included an attachment that has a PDF file that has the information for this service in it, so you can find song lyrics there. If you're not on our email list, but you have a smartphone or some kind of device along with you, you can go to our church's webpage, riverview-virgilumc.org, and then go to our page marked Worship, and you will see a file that you can click on that takes you to those lyrics as well. And you know what? I would also guess that there are many of you out there who, with a song leader, have a lot of these lyrics memorized as well. So if you would please join me in singing, O Come, Emmanuel. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thy justice here. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and death's dark shadows put to flight. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Thank you so much for singing along with me. And next I'd like to share a devotional that is written by Adam Hamilton from Church of the Resurrection. And he actually is quoting someone named Frederick Buechner from Wishful Thinking. Peace has come to me in a time when there aren't any wars, or even when there aren't any major wars. Beggars can't be choosers. We'd most of us settle for that. But in Hebrew, peace, or shalom, means wholeness, means having everything you need to be holy and happily yourself. One of the titles by which Jesus is known is Prince of Peace, and he used the word himself in what seem at first glance to be two radically contradictory utterances. On one occasion, he said to the disciples, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword." And that's from Matthew 10:34. And then later on, the last time they ate together, he said to them, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you." And that's from John chapter 14, verse 27. The contradiction is resolved when you realize that for Jesus, peace seems to have meant not the absence of struggle, but the presence of love. There are some questions for reflection, and the first one is this. Recall a time when you felt deeply at peace. And then what factors gave you that peace? So can you think of a time when you felt deep peace? And then number 2, which is what I'm going to focus on tonight. What are the things that rob you of peace? What are the things that rob you of peace? You know, I have to admit, gosh, I feel like I start a lot of sermons like that recently, but I don't know, confession is good for the soul, right? I have to admit that I used to get super annoyed when I would walk into Walmart or Lowe's or something like that at the beginning of September, like we just started school, I'm still wearing shorts, and I see a Christmas tree. Has anybody else had that experience? You walk in early September and you think, really? They've got the Christmas decorations out already? They will do whatever they can to make a buck, right? And I would just get irritated, really irritated, thinking that here we go again, the secular world is going to infringe on our religious world. And they're just taking something away from that. But the more I thought about that, I wondered if maybe I was approaching it wrong. You know, I also want to tell you a story that from this last Wednesday night, I was meeting with the youth group. We actually did some shopping. We went out to Walmart and we did some shopping for the angel tree. We came back and we were talking about some different Christmas traditions and things. And I mentioned to the youth group, well, you know, Jesus wasn't born on December 25th anyway. And they were all like, what? What do you mean Jesus wasn't born on December 25th? We celebrate his birthday on the 25th. We're here at the church on Christmas Eve. We're celebrating Jesus' birth. Like, yeah, that's when we celebrate it, but Jesus was not born then. And I stopped the conversation there for them because we were going to learn about that in our upcoming youth group events. But now youth, if any of you are here tonight, spoiler alert, I'm going to share a little bit tonight. So Jesus was most likely born in the spring. But do you know why we celebrate it on December 25th? So what is happening this year on December 21st? It happens every year, December 21st. I mean, it's part of our calendar, but there's also something significant happening on that date. December 21st is our winter solstice, and there's going to be a special star that's going to be appearing, right? And people are calling that the Christmas star because it's appearing at the same time on December 21st. But December 21st is one of those dates that pagans had their festivals. And I mentioned a little bit about this earlier this year when we celebrated our All Saints Day, because that was around the same day as the Festival of Samhain. If you look at the pagan calendar, there are 8 different dates throughout the year. They correspond with specific dates on the calendar, such as the winter solstice, the spring equinox, all those 4 different dates that are throughout the year at the change of our seasons. But then there are these days that fall exactly in between those 4 dates to make it an even 8 times around the calendar. And the pagans celebrated, and when I say pagans, I'm talking about non-Christians, much as in the Bible we talked about Jews and Gentiles. The Gentiles were the non-Christians. So when I say pagans tonight, I'm referring to non-Christians. But the pagans had a celebration at the winter solstice. And so the Christians in their new church thought, okay, we need to have a celebration celebration at that time as well. So what I really wonder about that part is, why? Why did they choose to have their celebration at the same time? Was it to overtake that festival? To take what has become their Christian ethic and make that be everyone else's ethic, so they should follow that same thing? Or is there another reason? Because I wonder if we might be called to something more. We've been talking through Advent about the light of Christ. We have been talking about that we each need to be the light. So when we have our celebrations, our Christian celebrations around other secular celebrations, we can choose to be the light and point others to Christ during that time, rather than us telling somebody else how to act or what is right or what they should do. We can be as Christ-like as we possibly can and let our actions, our Christian actions, show that light and point others to Christ during that time. We can show others by our Christian examples just as Christ did for us. And so there is a song that I would like to sing tonight. It's called Here Comes Santa Claus. And some of you right now might go, we don't really talk about Santa Claus in the church. But that's what I'm asking us to do, is to marry these two parts of our culture together. And that within this, we can show that we can be the light. We are purposefully singing tonight verses 3 and 4, because if you have these lyrics in front of you, you will see that they are Christian lyrics to a very secular song and a secular idea. Santa knows that we're all God's children. That makes everything right. Fill your hearts with a Christmas cheer, because Santa Claus comes tonight. And then my favorite, the last verse says, peace on earth will come to all if we just follow the light. Let's give thanks to the Lord above, because Santa Claus comes tonight. We can marry these two cultures together and be the light of Christ. Would you join me in singing, Here Comes Santa Claus? Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He doesn't care if you're rich or poor, for he loves you just the same. Santa knows that we're all God's children, that makes everything right. Fill your hearts with the Christmas cheer, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He'll come around when the chimes ring out, then it's Christmas morn again. Peace on earth will come to all if we just follow the light. Let's give thanks to the Lord above, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Peace on earth. Peace on earth will come to all if we just follow the light. And that is what we are doing with these services in our neighborhood tonight. We are lighting up our neighborhood with the light, the love, the peace, the hope, and the joy of Christ. Let us close our time this evening by joining in Let There Be Peace on Earth. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, children all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. We let that be our benediction tonight. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let's have a quick prayer, and then we're going to speak that one more time. Would you pray with me? Lord Jesus, when you grew up, you modeled a life of peace and trust. Help us to keep reordering our lives, finding our peace in your purpose, rather than losing it in our own fears. Amen. And now if you would speak that last line together with me, that last line from Let There Be Peace on Earth. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Amen. Thank you so much for coming tonight. And remember, we're going to keep doing this throughout Advent. And we've got thoughts and ideas of being able to gather like this on Christmas Eve as well. Won't that be fabulous if we still have this gorgeous weather at this time? Thank you so much for joining tonight. And feel free to stay around and just have a wonderful time of fellowship with your church family and friends. Thanks again.